Hello, my name is Carlos Erban, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to set up your Nikon PocketWizard system for the FlexTT5 and MiniTT1 and the AC3. And what we're going to do is, because I want to go through the settings and the configuration, this is going to be part one of maybe 2 or even 3 videos, because what I want to accomplish with this whole PocketWizard chapter is basically to show you everything that you can do with this system. I think this system is amazing. I know a lot of people that don't like it, and don't like it, and I believe it's because they're having a lot of problems. What I hope to show you after looking at all the videos, and we'll start with this one first, is start with the basics. How to set up your speed lights so that you can do TTL, which in the case of PocketWizards they call control TL, but just so that you know, to make it simple, let's just call it TTL. How to shoot manual, okay, and then how to use your speed lights with your strobe, and basically the whole system. So one of the things that I wanted to show you, so that you see what the end result would be once you get to use the whole system effectively, is once you have the whole system working effectively, then this is a shot where I basically use my strobe as the main light. I use a speed light for hair light, and speed light for hair light, and another speed light for fill light. And basically this was all done with the PocketWizard system. And this is a picture, as you can tell, it's 1,000 of a second at f4 that I took using hypersync. Hypersync means that you can use your strobe higher speed than your camera sync speed, which is usually the highest is 2/50 of a second. So let's start with the basics, and the most important thing I want to do first is basically start with the PocketWizard utility. So what I have connected my PocketWizard Mini TT1, and the reason why I want to start here is because I think a lot of the issues people have is because they haven't updated their software. I bought the whole Mini FlexTT5 when it first was launched, and I can tell you there's been tons of improvements. They've made it a lot easier, and everything communicates now so much better than it did at the beginning, which is usually the case with new technology. The first thing that I want you to do is check for updates. When you check for updates, you're gonna get a dialog like this. If you have the Mini and the Flex, download all the files, and you have here the latest official release, and download it. I'm not gonna download it because I already did. And then you want to update the firmware. Oh well, when you download it, obviously install it, then update the firmware. And I also want you to do a factory reset. What the factory reset is going to do is basically going to clean up everything that you have in your Mini and in your Flex, which, by the way, I want you to do the same thing for all of them. Check for the updates, update the firmware, and then do a factory reset. So let me walk you through the settings real quick. If you only want to use channel 1 and channel 2 and don't need your Mini and Flex to communicate with light meters, or the Sekonic light meter that does not have the new module, and I talk about that in a second, or use it with strobes, then the only thing, you don't need to do anything. You already have basically configuration 1 and configuration 2, which we'll see in a second when we look at it closer, the Mini and the Flex. Configuration 1 already comes set up for you for control TTL, channel 1, and configuration 2 is channel 2. And basically, as you will see in a second, with this you can shoot TTL and manual, because the AC3, which we'll go over in a moment, allows you to do both. So if you do have a PocketWizard 2 and or a Sekonic light meter with the older module, then you need to set up one of your configurations with the basic trigger. Basic trigger means that your FlexTT5, okay, and your Mini are gonna work like a regular PocketWizard, like the +2. The advantage is that it will allow you to communicate with your other PocketWizards and the Sekonic light meter in the old with the old module. The disadvantage is that then you won't be able to do TTL or use your AC3 and all the advantages the Mini and the Flex have. Okay, what I used to do is, when I did not have the new module of the Sekonic light meter, which was just launched, I mean it's been out only a few months, then configuration 1 I had it for TTL, and configuration 2 I had it for basic. The reason why I did that is whenever I needed to use my light meter and I was doing everything in manual with my flashes and was not using the AC3, then I basically used you know, my FlexTT5 and Mini as if it was a regular PocketWizard. But that defeats the whole purpose of the whole system. So that's why I think that investing in the new module for the Sekonic is a worthwhile investment. It's not cheap, but it's very useful. Okay, so this is the configurations for the Mini. Now I just connected the FlexTT5 to my computer, and what you will notice that is different than the Mini is that in addition to transmit, it also has received. When I originally purchased the system, I purchased 2 FlexTT5 because I didn't understand why did I need a Mini if my FlexTT5 for a few dollars more could do both. So I figure I'd rather have 2, and what I ended up doing is I ended up keeping the 2 FlexTT5 and bought the Mini because the Mini is very convenient, it's small, it fits, it's really nice to carry, and you know, if you're just going to use it to transmit, then you really don't need to use your FlexTT5 for that purpose. But anyway, that's up to you. What's important, so I'm just going to talk about the differences. So the only difference is that you have the receive, okay, and in configuration 1 you put it in the same channel. If you're using channel 1 and channel 2, have it in channel 1. Same thing here. When you go to miscellaneous, you have basic trigger and transmitter only. This is to make them so you want to click basic trigger to work exactly like a regular PocketWizard, like the +2, and then if you're going to use it only as a transmitter, then you put transmitter only. Okay, again, I used to have my configuration 1 exactly like this, and my configuration 2 I had it as a basic trigger, but I don't need that anymore because I can do everything now with the new module of the Sekonic light meter. So this is the only difference for the FlexTT5. So I'm going to pause this for a second. So one question in everybody's mind who does not have this system is, well, if I have the wireless for Nikon, why do I even need the PocketWizards? Well, you don't need it. The reason why I got it is because you have the line of sight. That's because it works in infrared. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. The reason why I'm showing you this picture is because the biggest problem that I had is when I put it in softboxes. By the way, this is a very big softbox made by Apollo, Westcott Apollo, which I sold because now I'm using strobes and I don't have the big ones anymore. But this is just the only reason I'm showing is this is an example. Whenever I put my flashes here, it just sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And if I'm doing a shoot, I don't want to be guessing, you know, especially because I cannot see if for this big box I had to put 2 flashes, sometimes 3 speed lights, and I don't want to be guessing if they're working or not working. The other thing that is embarrassing is when I used to shoot, when I was shooting my models with the speed lights and I didn't have the PocketWizards, I was constantly asking them if both flashes were triggering or not, because sometimes I couldn't even tell. So that's the reason why I got the PocketWizards. Okay, now let me go very quickly because we have 5 minutes for this video, and I'm going to show you now how to do the TTL, because with manual I want to show you how to do manual not only with your speed lights but also with your strobes, okay, so that everything communicates. And I'm assuming that if you have strobes, if you have speed lights and you don't need it for strobes, it doesn't matter because it's basically the same settings. So the first thing you need to do, and the sequence is very important, and I recommend that you watch all the videos in the PocketWizard website, but the sequence is very important. First thing you do, turn on your flash and put it on TTL. Do not put it on remote or master, just turn it on and put it on TTL. If you've seen my previous videos, you heard that I always recommend that you reset your flash. So you press these two green buttons for the SB910 or the 900 and the 800, 600, 700. You know, they have different ways of resetting, but they all have, you basically turn it on and have it on TTL. Once you do that, you place it on your FlexTT5, and again you have Group A, Group B, Group C, Configuration 1, Configuration 2. Let me start first on the configuration. Configuration 1, so let's assume that this flash is my main light. So I'm going to put, Configuration 1 and Configuration 2. This Configuration 1, if you remember, we set it up for Channel 1 and Configuration 2 for Channel 2. We're going to do everything today in Channel 1, so we're using only Configuration 1. Then you have A, B, and C. So these are your groups. Assuming that this is your main light, what we're going to do is basically set this speed light for Group A. Okay? So that's all you have to do. Once you turn on your flash, then turn on your FlexTT5, okay, and you're going to press the test button. If it doesn't trigger the flash, it means it's not communicating. So you have to go through the same sequence, turn it off, turn off your speed light, turn it on, turn on your FlexTT5, and then press the test, and it should work. Then once you do that, the Mini, which is on your camera, same thing, put it on Configuration 1, which is what we're using, okay. Configuration 1 is already on Channel 1. Click the test button. Now what's going to happen is, if you have it in manual, it's going to trigger. If you have it on TTL, actually it does not trigger. What you need to do is, because for TTL you really need to use your AC3, okay, because the AC3 is a small module you put on top of the Mini or the Flex, which basically has these settings, and I explain them to you right now. So you have 0, M, and A. 0 means, so let's say these are your three groups, A, B, and C. For Group A, you have 0 means it's turned off, M means that it's manual, A means that you're using TTL. I think A is like an abbreviation for automatic, maybe TTL is a trademark. So basically you have, we're putting it in A, okay, 0, that's your starting point, okay, so that's basically the same as if you were setting your flash on TTL wireless. Then you have Group B, same thing, Group C, same thing. If you turn, it has a little wheel here, and if you turn it, okay, and you see here, if you turn it to the left, you go down in half and third of a stops. If you go this way, it goes up in third of a stops. Okay, so once we have any TTL, what you do is you press the shutter button. So obviously you have to focus. It's going to, TTL is through the lens, and it works really well. So this is my target to see if it's exposing properly. I tried it the first one and the exposure was perfectly. So this is part one of the PocketWizard, the Nikon PocketWizard system, and basically this was the section on your configurations and your TTL. I hope it was useful. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments and I'll reply if I missed something or if you have any doubts. In part B, we're going to do the manual, and if we have time, we'll do hypersync. If we're going to do hypersync in part 2, we'll put the hypersync in part 3. Thank you.